Coming up on Nittany Game Week.
The expectations on our campus, in our community, with our lettermen, with our fans, with our alumni are really high.
Penn State is ranked number 2 in the country to start the season. The way Coach Franklin and the rest of the team manage the championship predictions.
Anytime anybody brings up game day, it's like I get that butterfly feeling in my chest.
The end of camp is near and the Nittany Lions are ready to hit someone else. The most important thing to focus on with 1 week to go before the opening kickoff.
The structure is safe, all right?
And there's been a lot of concern about the temporary seating on the west side of the stadium. Why PSU is adamant there are no safety issues and how close to capacity the crowd will be for home games. This is Nittany Game Week. The 2025 football season is about to begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski alongside former Nittany Lions coaches Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley. Summer winding down. Jay's got 3 new books and a fantastic tomato garden. And Tom, of course, has spent the entire summer in the gym. Look at him. He looks fantastic. But, guys, really, it's that time of the year. We're working back towards football. How exciting is it when you have only 1 week until the opener?
Not as exciting as this when you have one day to the opener when they kick off. But you spend all year for these 12 games. And so, yeah, you got. If you're not excited, then check your pulse and get out of the profession.
And you're still going over things. Did we cover this enough? Did we cover? There's always those questions at the last minute that keep coming up until that ball's kicked off.
And a lot of people feel there's a lot more than 12 games just ahead.
Yep.
So we'll get to all that later on. Number 2 in the AP poll, voted 3 by the coaches, how the Lions are dealing with sky-high expectations. Jim Knowles returns to his home state to run the defense in Happy Valley, and what the players and coaches are focused on as they wait patiently for the first game. It's all part of our opening drive. Okay, here's the team at practice earlier this week. Man, are they a trendy pick in the college football world for national championship contenders. I mentioned voted 2nd in the AP poll, number 3 by the coaches. You guys have been part of teams ranked that high in the preseason. How do you deal with sky-high expectations that are swirling around you?
You try and ignore them as best you can, but the problem is it's not the coaches and the players, it's everybody around them. It's mom and dad, it's girlfriends, it's people in class, it's people on the street, and they all want to talk about, oh my God, we're going to win it all, and you got to focus in on game 1.
And it's, you brought it up. You go downtown, anywhere you're walking, people come up, hey, what do you think? How are we going to do this week? You're on campus, you're going into class. Even the teachers ask you sometimes.
Advanced to the national semifinals last season, the close loss to Notre Dame sticks with the group. A bunch of the players came back for unfinished business. They're more than comfortable with the expectations placed on this veteran team.
The expectations in our Lash football building are always really high. The expectations on our campus, in our community, with our lettermen, with our fans, with our alumni are really high.
I could care less if we're unranked in the media or whatever, ranked number 1, ranked number 5. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. The only thing I care about is being where we're ranked at the end of the season.
Aller, center Nick Dawkins, and safety Zach E. Wheatley represented the Nittany Lions at this year's Big Ten Media Days. They hit the jackpot, normally held in Indianapolis. There was an event already booked at Lucas Oil Stadium, so they changed the venue to Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Todd, if I remember, you went out there for that, so you hit the jackpot too on that one.
He went a day early and came back a day
No
late.
question. But certainly defense is going to be a big thing with a new coordinator. Jim Knowles is coming back to Pennsylvania. Tom, talk about, when you implement a new system, because you've done it at UCLA and other places, what they got to do there.
It's the words. You got to make sure the words connect. So I'm sure what Jim did, as much as he could make it what it was last year, the wording, and he would learn all the new stuff.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at when he got to Ohio State the first time, he admitted that there was a learning curve in year 1, and he's talked about it.
Coach Knowles admits his system can be a little complicated. It's his job to make sure the players can learn it fast enough so they can play instinctively.
Offenses don't run the same things in college, which is more in the NFL they do. So you better have all different kinds of answers. Our charge is to be great now. So if it's too complicated or I can't get it installed in a way that the players pick it up quickly, then that's my fault. So I think I've developed a process that helps move it along at a more rapid pace.
I feel like we took a big leap from the spring to the fall. Just going through it a second time, having more confidence in what he's calling and understand what he wants to get done. So I feel like it's a lot more confidence, and I feel like guys are flying around a lot more than earlier in the spring.
Yeah, the guys will have a little extra time to get used to the defense with 3 straight non-conference games against overmatched opponents. Knowles came home to fulfill his dream of coaching at PSU. And it doesn't matter which side of the ball you're on. You guys understand how the players feel at this point of preseason camp. They're ready to hit someone else and get on the field against a different opponent, Tom.
They sure are. They do not want to see each other. They're tired of it. They go in the locker room after every practice, sit beside each other. They're ready to go. They want to play someone else. Important point being made was how get that wording down, get it tight so you can play fast. He just wants to ensure they play fast.
And defensive line coach Deion Barnes remembers what it was like waiting for the first game, and he incorporates what he learned while he was a player to help the guys keep their minds right and stay in the present.
I use that to be able to help them with the mindset that the practice is everything, because when you get to the game, it's just a dress rehearsal.
Well, the offseason work and wait is almost over. The Nittany Lions host Nevada in the opener at West Shore home field at Beaver Stadium. Up next, our coaches find their comfort zone with our scouting report. It's the preseason version as they dissect past performances to improve future results. More Nittany Game Week is on the way.
The opening drive is sponsored by R&R Express. Every shipment move contributes to autism research and inclusion through the Excel Foundation. Learn more at wearerr.com.
Lock in flash sale savings on all bath remodels at westshorebath.com. This week, get 25% off your project plus 12 months of no payments and no interest. Complete your project now and don't worry about making a single payment for an entire year after your installation. Have someone out as early as tomorrow and get your price that's good for an entire year when you visit westshorebath.com. It only takes seconds to get started and lock in those flash sale savings. 25% off your project plus 12 months of no payments and no interest financing.
These are more than just trucks. Every shipment moved by the R&R family of companies contributes to the Excel Foundation for Autism Research and Inclusion, funding safe spaces like the Sensory Room at Penn State's Beaver Stadium, and a special event sensory trailer, and giving thousands that were unheard a voice.
Now is the time to amplify non-speaking voices and drive meaningful change.
These trucks are powered by purpose.
Nittany Game Week is brought to you by West Shore Home, official partner of Penn State Football.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. I describe these guys as upbeat and positive the majority of the time. Oh, but when they get a chance to dissect some game tape, it is obvious. Coach Bradley and Coach Paterno are in their element. There's time to discuss the first opponent of the season, Nevada, next week. Many times to improve in the future, you have to relive the mistakes of the past.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you've got a team that was very, very good last year, but getting to the championship is another step. And there's no question about it. Tom, as you know, a lot of that comes down to 3 factors on the offensive side of the ball we'll talk about today: quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive line. So let's talk about that, Tom, as we go. Let's start by, we talked about Drew Aller, quarterback. If you look at his record against ranked teams, his 2 years as a starter, he's 4-6 in those teams. He's got some good wins now under his belt and some confidence. When you look at his numbers in those games, they have trended upward last year from his first year as a starter, which is what you expect. The question now is, what is the next step? And let's look at some historical perspective. Here are some guys, Fusina, Blackledge, Schaefer, and Collins, who all ended up with great senior years, all ended up playing for the national championship or winning a national championship. How they stack up versus Aller going into that last year, and we'll see what happens with Drew, and hopefully it ends up with the number 1 at the end of that category at the ranking. Now, let's talk about the kind of things that have to happen. Tom, you know, in any big game against a really good team, the quarterback's got to make a play at some point in the game to win the game.
There will be a point in that game at some time. It's up to him, and he's got to make the throw, make the run, make the right read, whatever it takes. But it is in any big game you look at, you'll find that play.
Yeah. And you'll see USC last year was a big road win for Penn State. 4th and 7, here he goes. game on the line, stands in there, makes the throw. Another fourth down play, a couple plays later, he does the same thing where now he has to scramble and the whole play is broken down and then improvises and makes the play again. Here's another on the fourth down. There's going to be a time, whether it's against Oregon, whether against Ohio State or somebody, where he's going to have to make this play. And he's shown he can do it, so that's a reason for optimism. Now let's talk about who he throws it to. Wide receiver has been sort of an issue the last couple of years. Notre Dame game, not a single catch. Penn State went out and got some transfers from Syracuse, USC, and Troy State. And the key to an offense this year is going to be how well those guys do. And Tom, you know, when you look at when you're a defense coordinator, you're looking at can the quarterback run and can the wideout outside beat us one-on-one, Tom? Is that important?
No doubt about it, especially you worry about the running because now you got to be disciplined up front of your pass rush. And then when you get that, you're like, oh, we can't play him one-on-one. We got to double him. We got to slide over to him. That's huge.
No question. Here's Trevor Pena from Syracuse that they got against Miami. He beats him one-on-one the outside there. Beats him again here. Great ball skills here. Not a tall guy, but makes some plays. And let's talk about our guy from Troy State. Here's the guy transferred to Troy State. Here he is against Iowa. So this is Big Ten competition. This is what got everybody's attention in this game. Here against Iowa, he beats the corner on a busted coverage, but he has the speed to get out there and make the play, Tom. And this is, you look at this video, this is one of those things that would jump out at you.
I've watched a little bit of film of him when they got him. This guy's an explosive player, and he's going to make some big plays for Penn State this year.
And he may jumpstart the return game. Last year, there was some question about the punt and kick returns. Here's the punt return against Iowa. Great blocking, to be fair to the special teams unit. But once he got out there, he had the speed to get up the field, get out the sideline, and score. And again, he really was the reason they were in the game against Iowa. Now, the last component we talk about is the offensive line and getting the run game going. If you look at the losses with Allen and Singleton against ranked opponents, you look at their rushing numbers are down, their yards per carry are down as opposed to the wins. They did a great job in those 5 wins against ranked teams since they've played. And now, last year, you'll recall against Minnesota, Penn State's up 1 point. They get the ball back with 5 minutes to go. They were able to run the clock out. They were helped by a timely fake punt call that enabled them to end the game, and Minnesota never even touched the ball. And there are going to be times, and again, here's another play where Allard could have been sacked, scrambles, makes a play, but these are the kind of elements that you're going to have to look for to see how well Penn State does this year.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate the breakdown. Of course, one of the biggest stories heading into the season is the West Shore home field at Beaver Stadium renovation, specifically the west side temporary seating. Now, Pat Kraft went into detail and laid out all the reasons why they are adamant the temporary seating is perfectly safe.
In production, put it up. They put the bleachers up. They look at it. Then we bring in an independent third party to come in and look at it. So the structure is safe, all right? It is safe. It's been looked at. It's been inspected. L&I, like everything here, has to approve any sort of construction process. So L&I, they've signed off. We got the keys to the castle. We are in that building. We are off and running. And the most hostile and exciting environment in all of sports will be ready. Our fans are going to be ready to rock and roll when we kick off for Nevada. That was very important to me and our team, that we did not want anything to get in the way of the greatest environment in all of sports.
Now, much of the concern and attention has come before the netting was in place under the seats. So people were worried about losing wallets, keys, and cell phones. Capacity is going to be almost exactly the same, over 106,000. Time to step aside for a quick break. When we come back, our Impact interview with big noon kickoff host Rob Stone. What it's like to quarterback a college football pregame show. Coming up when Nittany Game Week returns.
Lock in flash sale savings on all bathroom models at westshorebath.com. And this week, get 25% off your project plus 12 months of no payments and no interest. Complete your project now and don't worry about making a single payment for an entire year after your installation. Have someone out as early as tomorrow and get your price that's good for an entire year when you visit westshorebath.com. It only takes seconds to get started and lock in those flash sale savings. 25% off your project plus 12 months of no payments and no interest financing.
For a fun night out, come to the mountains, the Pocono Mountains.
Yeah, we rock the party non-stop like this. Yeah, we rock the party non-stop like this.
Pocono Mountains nightlife. Find yours at PoconoMountains.com.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
We're back on Nittany Game Week, and it's time for our Impact Interview. This week's guest has a profound impact on the sports world as the quarterback of the Big Noon Kickoff Football Show. Rob Stone joins us for show number 1. Rob, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate the time.
Hey, way to start strong. Show number 1 and bring me in. All right, the bar is already elevated. Let's go.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, a lot of excitement in Happy Valley if you haven't noticed, right? And so what we're looking for is some validation from you as part of the national media to really tell us what we already know, is that they're big-time contenders this year. Is that kind of the contention, and is that the feeling everywhere you go?
Is that what I'm here to be? I'm here to be master of the obvious, right? To tell you Penn State football is good this year and people expect them to win the national title. Yeah, absolutely. You know, they are one of 3 national title contenders inside the Big Ten, with Oregon and Ohio State as well. And if you look at the blueprint over the course of the last 2 seasons with the national champions, Michigan and Ohio State, the roster, the setup, the makeup, the scheduling, everything kind of looks like what Penn State has this year. And I think that's one of the reasons that there's these high expectations, as there always are in Happy Valley. The other part is that of those 3 programs I just named in the Big Ten, Penn State is the one that has a quarterback, a proven quarterback, one that needs to prove a little bit more, but one that also I think has first-round NFL potential as well. So having Drew Aller back there certainly would make me feel more comfortable, would make me push a few of my Big Ten chips more into the Penn State corner than it would, say, for Oregon or Ohio State.
So, Rob, given Penn State's non-conference schedule, it may be a while before we see Big Noon Kickoff in Happy Valley. But talk about, for the fans, because this is, before the opening game for Penn State, some of the places you guys are going to be in September. What are things to look forward to early in the year for Big Noon Kickoff?
Well, for Big Noon Kickoff on Fox, we're going to start in Columbus with the defending national champs, 1 versus 3, Texas taking on Ohio State. Just a monster game to start off the season. I love that college football, it really kind of owns that Labor Day weekend and scatters great matchups, ranked matchups throughout the country. So there's none bigger than Ohio State and Texas, 2 blue bloods going at it. First time Texas has ever been ranked number 1 in the preseason, which is really remarkable to think about. The next week, Iowa at Iowa State. And then week 3, we head to Chicago Northwestern taking on Oregon. After that, it is wide open for us. And, the way we view things with Big Noon is, play some games, let the chips fall. Let's see where the stories are. Let's see how they line up with our programming grid and the games that we have. And, I think the Big 12 is going to be sneaky good this year, not SEC good, not Big 10 good, but I think they're going to continue their quest to be that number 3 conference in the land. And we're going to have a lot of Big 12 games as well. But, our bread and butter is the Big 10.
You've talked about the teams we consider as contenders, but do you see anybody what team would be the dark horse maybe in the Big 10? That you would that could go a little bit further?
Does Illinois count? It's hard to not say Illinois is a dark horse, at least, looking through their history and what Brett Bielema has done and the confidence and energy he's brought to that community and to that campus and the recruiting segment, and he's returning a quarterback. I'm big on quarterbacks coming back. I think that just kind of calms a lot of the nerves and helps programs build. And obviously there's that big jump from year 1 as a starter to year 2. So I think Illinois is going to be majorly on the rise, and not just this season. I think they are built to kind of be a growing force in the Big Ten and in the national title hunt as well. It would not surprise me at all if Illinois is in the college football playoffs when we're talking about this in December. I think Iowa is going to be really interesting. I know you guys are at Iowa in mid-October. I think that is going to be a pivotal game for both programs right now. The old jokes about the Iowa offense, hopefully they have changed and the Iowa offense is for real and they've changed some things and never sleep on what coach has built there in Iowa City.
Last one for you, Rob. We appreciate your time. So one last question. You've probably eaten some good meals on the road, and I think you know where I'm going with this one. Got to ask about your review on the Friday night dinners at the Paterno house with Sue behind the apron.
Man, that was one of the coolest things we did. Pat Kraft, the athletic director, invited Urban over, and I know you did as well. That was probably about 3 years ago, and I think it was Penn State was at a juncture right now about how to treat the Paterno family, and Jay, you know this intimately, and kind of opening your arms back up to everything that your father did in a positive light. And Urban Meyer has so much respect for what Penn State is, for what your father was, and a lot of people don't know that Urban Meyer was this close to being the head coach at Penn State University. So Urban has so much respect for the school, for the institution, and for the family named Paterno. And when he invited me over for dinner to join you and your mom and your sisters, I was like, yeah, absolutely, we're going. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know when this is going to happen. And we were sitting at that table with Franco, right? With Franco Harris, just literally days before he passed away. And Urban and I, whenever we get to Happy Valley, we do kind of look at ourselves. And when we pull up to the house, we're like, man, like, they still live here. And this is where Coach was, and this is the walk that he did. And the meal is just so beautifully old school and proper and welcoming. And I was so thankful that Pat and your family invited Urban in.
Really appreciate Rob joining us from Los Angeles for show number 1 of the season. Make sure you go to nittany-game-week.com for the entire conversation, along with other web-exclusive content like our Nittany Connect network of businesses and the Nittany Game Week podcast. Don't go anywhere. Still to come, Tom hands out his scrap medal. Our preseason winners are the guys that lead on and off the field. We're heading into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week.
Nittany Game Week is brought to you by West Shore Home, official partner of Penn State Football.
No,
see you guys later.
He's gonna see us later.
Come on, friends I haven't met yet.
Noah, be careful.
You know Noah? I'll have the tomahawk. And so will he. This next one goes out to Ken and Janice.
Did he just call you Janice?
Kick how hard away.
These are more than just trucks. Every shipment moved by the R&R family of companies contributes to the Excel Foundation for Autism Research and Inclusion, funding safe spaces like the Sensory Room at Penn State's Beaver Stadium, and a special event sensory trailer, and giving thousands that were unheard a voice.
Now is the time to amplify non-speaking voices and drive meaningful change.
These trucks are powered by purpose. Scrap Metal is sponsored by Burke & Bradley Orthopedics. Located in Pittsburgh, Burke & Bradley Orthopedics is a comprehensive sports medicine practice, providing patients with the most current and innovative approaches in diagnosis and treatment.
Back by popular demand, of course, is the Scrap Medal. Who doesn't want to be singled out by Scrap for their good work? Tom, our preseason award goes to a group of guys that are going to be very important to this team's success.
Hey, you bet. It's the team captains. They're important for a lot of reasons, especially off the field, more so than people realize. If any of the guys on the team are having any issues, they go straight to the captains. They lead, inspire, motivate, and counsel, and are valuable for the coaches as well to communicate with them. This particular group is back for unfinished business. Drew Aller, Nick Dawkins, Dom DeLuca, Zane Durant, and Tyler Duzansky. They all have the Nittany Lions ready to go.
It's trivia time. So Penn State has now played with the Nevada game teams from 42 different states. Can you name the 2 teams from new states that Penn State played in 2023? Which begs the question, which 8 states are Penn State missing from teams that they have played? You can see them right here: Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, New Mexico, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
In addition to a television show, we're bringing Nittany Lions together through Nittany Connect, a network of Penn State-related businesses and professional services. Make sure you check out Nittany Connect on our website. Our goal is to build a team that keeps our hometowns strong. And speaking of our website, we have a lot to share with you when it comes to college college football. It doesn't all fit into a nice, tidy 30-minute window. Make sure to check out nittany-game-week.com for web-exclusive content, special segments, and past episodes from the previous 4 seasons. So do the math, guys. We start our 5th season together of Nittany Game Week. It's going to be the best one yet. We finish with Pride Picks, so show us your spirit. For Jay and Tom, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.
Lock in flash sale savings on all bath remodels at westshore.bath.com. This week, get 25% off your project plus 12 months of no payments and no interest. Complete your project now and don't worry about making a single payment for an entire year after your installation. Have someone out as early as tomorrow and get your price that's good for an entire year when you visit westshore.bath.com. It only takes seconds to get started and lock in those flash sale savings. 25% off your project plus 12 months of no payments and no interest financing.